Abigail, and welcome to the first of hopefully many videos on my channel about everything having to do with books. This is a project that I've been wanting to start for a really long time, and so I am super excited to get going. I've been seeing a lot of videos lately about people like me who love to read and love to write and want to get their ideas out to the world, so I'm super excited to be one of them. On my channel, I have a lot in store. I want to give some book recommendations of books that may not be as popular as some other ones, or writing ideas that I myself use, or writing prompts. I have a lot of ideas, but for the first video, I want to talk a little bit about my personal reading journey. I'm going to be sharing some books that have been really influential to me, whether when I was a really little kid or recently, books that either got me past a reading slump or got me into a certain genre that I really love today. So, here are some books that have been really important to me in my reading journey.
First, we have the A to Z Mystery series, which is one of my favorite series from when I was first starting to read chapter books.
It's a mystery series for kids with 26 books, each one following a different letter of the alphabet.
It's a great series for kids because the mysteries are fun and not too complicated for kids to follow along with. It developed my love for the mystery and suspense genre today. The next book series is the Puppy Play series by Alan Miles, which I read towards the middle of elementary school. It follows a foster family for dogs, and each book is about a different dog that comes into their home. I have always been an animal lover, so it's no surprise that this series was one of my favorites for many years. Around that same time, I became really obsessed with the Babysitter's Club series by Anne M. Martin. In fact, the first book that I wrote was basically just a combination of the Puppy Play series, which I just talked about, and this one. It's about a group of middle school girls who decide to form a Babysitter's Club. Family has always loved to read together, and the next book on my list was the subject of our read aloud for many, many months. The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This series always has been and always will be one of my all-time favorites. The stories are beautifully written with amazing characters, wonderful settings, and incredible world building. Not to mention, it also has a lot of really beautiful illustrations. If you haven't gotten around to reading it yet, I strongly suggest that you do. It will be worth it. Series I discovered during a reading slump I was having in my late elementary school years. In fact, the reason why I don't have a physical copy right now is because I am loaning it to my cousins who are about that age. It follows 8 sisters whose parents go missing, and they must discover their own individual powers and gifts in order to get their parents back. I'm sure you've seen The Wizard of Oz, and maybe even read the book, but did you know that it's only the first of a 15-book series? When a teacher read a chapter to my class in 5th grade, I mentioned to my parents that I'd like to read the book, and so they gave me a copy of the first 5 books right before a big plane ride. Needless to say, I devoured those books and couldn't wait to read the rest of the series. It'll take up your time, but it's definitely a worthwhile read. I first discovered the Emily Winsnap series by Liz Kessler when I participated in the Battle of the Books competition in 6th grade. My team didn't do too well in the competition, but it did result in me discovering this book series. It's about a girl who discovers that she's half mermaid, since her mom is a human and her dad is a merman. It's an engaging and fun read, and not to mention, it's the first in a series with many books, so if you know a middle schooler who really loves mermaids, then this book is for them. This next book series, I once made a challenge to myself to read all 40+ books in one summer, which I did end up succeeding in doing, but mainly because the books are so interesting and hard to put down. The Dear America series by many different authors is a series of fictional diaries from various girls at points in American history. It spurred on my passion for historical fiction and helped me learn about various points in history that I never would have thought to research. This next book was recommended to me by my mom, and I was entranced from the first couple of pages. It's about a young girl who is invited to come to the palace and learn how to be a princess, for the chance of getting to marry the prince. It's basically a less dystopian version of The Selection, so if you're a fan of the selection, you'd probably like this. And not to mention, it's also a trilogy. It's well written and highly enjoyable, and one of the main books that really got me into one of my favorite genres today, fantasy. I'd like to thank my 8th grade homeroom teacher for introducing me to another one of my favorite genres today, dystopian. Obviously, The Hunger Games is a modern classic, but isn't really something that I would have been interested in picking up before my 8th grade teacher began reading it. I was absolutely enthralled and couldn't wait to read the rest of the trilogy, along with many other dystopian books that I have grown to love today. And lastly, we have another one of my favorite books of all time, the Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien. I read the series at the beginning of my freshman year, and although it certainly takes a lot of work to read through, it's definitely worth it. I was so excited to read these books for the first time, as my whole family loves them, and I am so glad I did.
So, that about wraps it up for some books that have been important to me throughout my reading journey. If you'd like me to do a full review on any of the books that I talked about in this video, let me know down in the comments, and I'd also be curious to know what are some books that have been important to you throughout your reading journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. More videos will be coming soon. And now, for our bookish quote of the day.
You can never get a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me. C.S. Lewis. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.